What's up, guys? I'm Nick, and this is Build Dad Build, a place where if we're gonna set down our whiskey, we better damn sure use a coaster. That's right, guys. We're doing another round of coasters. Man, I'm having this sense of deja vu like I did this yesterday. Oh wait, because I did. So guys, yesterday I had some technical difficulties where after I got done filming for the day, I went to review the footage and didn't capture any of the audio. It was a user error and I've since fixed it. So I was gonna come back and I was gonna try to act like it didn't happen. But I know you guys are too smart for that and I know you'd see through it. Not really. I realized that I put the shirt that I was wearing yesterday in the wash, so I was going to be wearing a different shirt anyway. So let's talk about this project. But let's talk about it upstairs. Okay, guys. So as I said, I had a little technical difficulty yesterday, which means it's today, which means right after I get done talking to you about the project, we're just going to jump right into the second half of the project. Since it's still the zombie apocalypse out there, and I'm actually kind of running out of materials, I figured I had this, I had 1x4 laying around the shop. And I figured this would be a really accessible project for you guys at home. I am going to use some epoxy. You wouldn't necessarily need to use the epoxy, and you could still make some pretty cool coasters using kind of the same method and just not doing the epoxy part. But if you guys were true Build Dad Build fans, you'd know that you should always have some epoxy laying around. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 1x4, we're gonna cut it into about 16-inch pieces, and then we're going to cut with the table saw a groove about 3/4 of an inch wide, about 3/8 of an inch deep, just a channel down here. About the one I did, and this was just kind of eyeballing it, but I did about 3/4 of an inch in on this side. So we're just gonna have a channel here. We're gonna fill that with epoxy, and then we'll cut the coasters out of this. The reason I'm cutting these to 16 inches is, well, first of all, y'all know that a 1x4 is really 3/4 by 3.5, right? So 3.5 times 4, which would be 4 coasters, is 14 inches. And what I wanted to do is have a little bit of play on either end in case like we get some chip out or if the epoxy runs out or something along those lines. We also might, that was me winking, do something a little funky with one of them, if you know what I mean. Funky. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut that channel. I'm basically just gonna take some duct tape, put it on either end to seal it, and then pour those channels full of epoxy. And yes, duct tape is perfectly sufficient in this application. I think I've actually seen people do it with like painter's tape. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's get back out to the shop. I would be remiss here if I didn't tell you to glove up. How we doing, guys? I can't even do it, man. All right, so I was just upstairs filming the thing that you saw in the beginning of the video. But it's tomorrow. All right, guys, so let's take a look at what we got so far. We are talking about, making sure my mic's on. Here we go. That is the black stripe. That is the blue and purple. This one I just kept adding stuff to because I just couldn't get it. I didn't like the way it looked. So it's got green in there and gold and it's blue. I added the blue because once I blew all the bubbles out with the torch, it sank really low. So it was already kind of janky looking. This is the one I'll experiment on. And I'm gonna run through the planer and see if it'll work. Then we got the funkiness, which I'm not sure how this is gonna turn out either, but we will see. The next stop, we're gonna try to plane one of these down. If that works, we're gonna plane all of them down. We're gonna cut them apart. We're gonna route the edges and then finish them.
Finish him!
I don't know if I'm gonna burn them. I'll probably try one, but I'm afraid if I hit this too heavy with the torch, it's gonna melt the epoxy. And I don't wanna do that. I don't know if I can, and I just don't know if I can get passes on it enough to, I don't know. So Houston, we have a slight problem. The board that I drilled the holes in and filled with epoxy, apparently didn't drill the holes deep enough, and I just planed them off. So I did a test piece earlier and the results were kind of promising. Can you see the detail on that? It's definitely a light burn. You can't go like full gator with it or anything. I'm gonna start off on a couple of them and see what happens. And if it starts melting or doing something wonky, I'm gonna stop. You guys probably already know if this works or not, but I don't, so I'm nervous. But I still get to burn stuff. Hey guys, what's the happy haves? Nope. What's up guys? How we doing? What do you guys think? You sick of coasters yet? I wanted to do an epoxy project. I haven't done an epoxy project in a while. And this is just like a really easy, kind of accessible one for everybody, especially if you're just starting out with epoxy. This is a really easy, kind of simple thing where you're not dealing with molds and releasing and things like that. So I wanted to put it out there just in case anybody was interested in starting into epoxy. I will link to the products I use down below. I mainly use Total Boat because I've never had a problem with them. I've always asked, like, what's my product of choice? And that's easy to how I'm finished. But as far as epoxy goes, it kind of depends on the project. So if you're doing something really thin, like a thin layer, like, you know, like the serving boards you see that have the oceans on them and stuff like that, you can totally go with their Maker Epoxy. It's made for that kind of thing, that kind of application. The stuff I used on these is called tabletop epoxy, and you can pour it up to a 1/4 inch deep. Don't even say that I poured it at 3/8 of an inch. Don't. And if you're gonna pour something bigger than that, like a river table type situation or whatever, you would want to use their deep set epoxy because that pours up to 1.5 inches, I believe. Anywho, easy project. Things I would do different. The main thing I would do different. So you saw that I jumped in and did another one of these after I sanded it off. So that's the reason this video is a little later, because I really wanted to do the polka dots, the Brady Bunch. And the only thing I would do different about this is, of course I'm gonna pick one up that you can't see it. Let's see, I don't know if that's gonna translate. Yeah, see how it's kind of bled around the edges? I feel like that's because it was going in to end grain, and so it kind of absorbed in there. Maybe that's the way I poured it, I don't know. But what I would have done probably is spray with a little polyurethane first, and then poured the epoxy to kind of keep that from happening. If you do that, make sure you wear a mask. You should wear a mask anyway when you're burning. You should definitely wear a mask when you're burning around epoxy, because even though it didn't really melt, you could definitely smell it. But if you put polyurethane down on there first, definitely wear a mask, because you're gonna burn the top layer of polyurethane off. But yeah, man, I dig them. Check that out. Ooh, and actually the green, let's see, there's one green one. Look at the different colors in this. Like, look at that. Oh, it's kind of cool, right? And then the black, I mean, I like it, but this is probably my least favorite out of them. I've seen where they do the black and they do it in a matte. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? When you see like matte black epoxy, so it's not quite so shiny. All right, guys, so I hope you like this build. Do me a favor, stop by our Discord channel. We got like over 100 people there now. That's where I ask questions and things like that. It's just too hard to keep up with the comments on YouTube. I mean, I answer my comments, but I don't know if you guys know this about YouTube, but if you send me a message in the comments, I get a notification, okay? And then I can reply to you. But if you reply to my reply, it's like a crapshoot on whether I'll see it or not. So just FYI, like if you wanna engage in like a actual conversation, find me on Discord or find me on Instagram and just send me a DM. And speaking of Dungeon Masters, I would love to thank all of my patrons. You guys are the shit. I think I can say that because I think I'm far enough in the video now that I'm not corporal compliant. Maybe I'll bleep. But you guys are awesome. Love you. I will be sending some things out to you soon, I believe. But the channel wouldn't be the channel without you, so I appreciate you guys. Clinkies, especially Steven Mann and Nick the Greek. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do that likey thing. If you haven't subscribed, do that subscribey thing. And thanks for playing. Now I gotta get to work.